Hello everyone, welcome to another quarantine edition of Rorschach's Comics. I am your wonderful host, Matt, and today we're going to be taking a look at Volume 2 of The Outsiders, Sum of All Evil. Now, like the previous Outsiders book, this book has two storylines in it, and it's got the same group of heroes: Nightwing, Arsenal, Indigo, Metamorpho 2.0, basically. He changes his name to Shift since him and Metamorpho are now technically two different people. We've got Thunder, Jade, and Mercy. I'm sorry, not Mercy. Grace is in it again. Also in the first story arc, we see the Huntress. She joins up with them, which was nice. It was nice to see Huntress in a story. In the first story, they fight a Russian mob boss who gains the powers of Sabak, which is very similar to Shazam. When he says the name Sabak, he turns into this, it's basically an amalgamation of 6 demons, and he has the powers of all of them. And the name itself, each letter in the name is the first name of each of these demons. So it's very much like Shazam, where his name is an amalgamation of various heroes from mythology, and he has their powers. We also see Black Lightning in the first story arc. He comes and helps the Outsiders fight Sabak. After that, we get into the second story arc where they fight the Fearsome Five, which was meh. The best way to describe the second story arc I'd say a quote from Shakespeare comes to mind. It was a song full of sound of fury and signifying nothing. It was a lot of words and pictures where nothing happened. The artwork was good, yes. We've got the same art team from the first volume. But it felt very long, very drawn out, and it was all for nothing. I feel they really dropped the ball storytelling-wise with that one. If you're someone who there's a certain character or a certain team or a certain title, and you collect everything around that centers around that title, that character, then yes, you'll want to pick it up. If you're an Outsiders person, you like collecting the Outsiders, you'll want to pick it up so you have a complete collection. But for someone like me who is, when it comes to buying comic books, I'm very, very art and very story driven, I wouldn't buy it. The first story arc was nice. Again, we see Black Lightning, who, if you remember from our last video, he was the Secretary of Education under President Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor is no longer the president, which they don't tell us how that came about. That is told in a different story elsewhere. And when it comes out that he's been making appearances here and there as Black Lightning to help out the Outsiders, he's asked by the new president to resign because, well, they just can't have it. But the second story arc was a big to-do about nothing. It really was. Getting into comic book related movies I've got to watch here recently. I finally got to see the new Birds of Prey movie, and I'm not going to try and say the entire title because I don't remember the whole title. It's far too long. The movie was good. Will I watch it again? At some point, yes. It wasn't one that, I'll have to watch it again over and over. But it was a decent movie. It was really nice to see Huntress in a movie. It was nice to see Black Canary in a movie and be a metahuman instead of what they did to her in the Arrow series. Harley Quinn, Margot Robbie, what can I say? She's very good looking, plays it very well. I personally prefer the classic 90s version of Harley Quinn myself, but I understand why they went with a more New 52/Rebirth style Harley Quinn. It's much more, it's much easier to take seriously and be more believable. Honestly, I was so pleased that Jared Leto did not reprise his role as the Joker. I can't tell you how much I despise his version of the Joker. It's bad. But that's just me. I thought Ewan McGregor did an interesting job. I'll give him that as a Black Mask. I don't know that it's necessarily the direction I'd like to see Black Mask portrayed in the future, but it was interesting. And Mr. Zsasz was an interesting character to incorporate. I'm glad we got to see more of him in this than we did in the Christian Bale Batman series where you only see him in one scene. But I think now their portrayal of Cassandra Cain, now for those of you who don't know, Cassandra Cain was the second Batgirl in the comics, and she was also mute. And she's definitely not mute in this one. They portrayed her very differently than her character is ever portrayed in comics, so that'll be interesting to see going forward what they do with that. All right, with that, I think we're done for the night. Please remember to like and subscribe for more of our videos. And give us a comment, tell us what you'd like to see from this channel in the future. We'd love to hear from you. We hope you're all stay healthy. Have a good night.